Hey guys.
So, Scotty A, we're going to be talking about mental golf today. We alluded to that a little last week, and I thought, you know what, we don't need any golf clubs to talk about mental golf. So, sit down, think about this, get your mind right to kind of take in some new information. What does mental golf mean to you? So, that's kind of what I want to talk about today, Scott.
Sounds like a plan to me, Pro. I mean, you see on tour, a lot of these guys don't have the most beautiful looking golf swings. So clearly they're mentally tough. I mean, what are some things you do personally when you were playing to get mentally prepared for a shot, a tournament, or whatever it was? What was your process to get ready for mental golf?
Well, here's where I would step back first, and I would say, okay, what is mental golf, right? I mean, I alluded to this last week. I said people used to give me grief when I was about 14, 15. I mean, I was a total Irish hothead. Last name McNamara, German roots. I mean, I could throw some temper tantrums. I wanted to win, and I did not handle it well. I promise you. I never broke a club. I mean, got to throw a club without breaking it. That's in the bloopers class one day. But I was told I needed to work on my mental golf. I didn't even know what that meant. And mental golf to me, it sort of starts with attitude. I think that's the key component for having a strong mental golf. You have to have a great attitude. What does that mean? Attitude at the end of the day, I mean, you don't have to be a golfer. Donald Trump should watch this. The governor of New York should watch this. The governor of all these states should watch this because it's about attitude. You're going to get fired up from those reporters, and they're going to try to put you in a bad attitude, right? They're going to try to make you mad. Well, a lot of what golf is doing is trying to make you mad, and you've got to know how to have a great attitude. Attitude is really about choice. It's about choice. So let's define what that means. So if you're driving in your car right now, you're listening to this, and somebody cuts you off, you want to honk the horn. They're driving fast, they cut you off, you want to honk them, you're going to be mad. We're sort of almost predetermined to be upset about that, right? Agree with that?
Agreed, yeah.
Now, would you change your feeling about that if you found out that there was a lady in the backseat of that car that was having a baby and her husband was racing to get her to the hospital to deliver a baby? Would that change your perspective?
100%.
It would.
I didn't have all the information.
So a lot of times that's choice, right? And so you have to choose. Do you want to be a puppet or do you want to be a puppeteer in the game of life? And if there's ever a time in life where you don't have any control over anything except yourself, it's right now. And golf is like that. So I start with golf, begin with a great attitude, all right? Then mental golf gets into the kind of Captain Obvious stuff, like what's your strategy? How do you want to play a golf course? How do you want to take advantage of your own game? And I would say to become better at strategy, you got to have strengths and weaknesses so that you know, gee whiz, for example, for me, how stupid I was when I first turned pro. Here, I could always hit it straight. I hit it short and I hit it straight. I hit my driver virtually everywhere. I hardly ever found a golf course that was too narrow. And I was a horrible long iron player. I turned pro. I go to the Canadian Tour my first summer of playing professional golf. And what do? I play with some guys in the practice round, big hitters, and they tee off on the hole with a 2-iron. What do? Because I'm a dunce, I tee off on the hole with a 2-iron. What do? I hit it short and in the rough. Where if I could have just ripped the driver and had enough confidence to know my game to have a better strategy, I would have played my own damn game and just done what's Rob McNamara, which was short and straight.
You took the strength out of your hands.
Exactly. So I had lousy strategy because I really didn't know myself, and I didn't really know my strengths well enough and believe in my strengths. So you gotta think about mental golf also as the strategy of how to play and how to play your game that's best for you. And then you think, okay, what about your imagination? What about your visualization? Those are things that I would put in the mental golf platform that, when you're getting ready to play around golf or play a shot, you have a strategy. This is what you want to do. that sand trap, and you start to see a picture in your head, and you think the wind's in your face. I don't want to hit it up high. The ball's a little squirrely the way it's sitting. I'm afraid I might pull it. Boom, you hit a shot. You get a visualization to hit a shot. So that's part of your imagination and visualization. That is very important to playing golf, being mentally strong to play golf. So those are, then you graduate to the moment of execution, right? The moment of execution. So you've done all these things. You have a great attitude. You have a great strategy. You visualize the shot. You know, you've got the shot plan. You're getting ready to hit the shot. Now I'm over that 132-yard shot on the first hole here at Farmington into the green. And what do? Right at the moment of truth, I choke, or I daydream, or I think too much about my mechanics, or I have too much of an analytical thought. And so, boom, I don't execute.
Start thinking about technique instead of just execution.
There are so many things. So some of it is figuring out what it is you think about when you hit your best shots. Now, if you did not watch the last episode of our series, I think this is going to wrap up season 1 for us.
The pilot season.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully we'll get picked up by Netflix and Amazon. You know, we'll double dip with Hulu Plus, and ESPN, and Disney Channel. We have to clean it up for the Disney Channel.
Amazon Prime.
But you know, right at that moment of truth, you know, you heard me talk about like, can you believe in yourself, right? And if you doubt yourself, doubt is the absolute enemy to golf.
Mm-hmm.
Doubt is the absolute enemy to golf. So if you doubt yourself, you don't execute that shot very well. Okay, so you start off again with great attitude. You have the ability to make a strategy. You have the ability to visualize a shot. You have the ability to have great imagination. You have the ability to be over the shot and execute and free it up in that moment where you don't think about all these other things. So when you're ball beating out on the range, that's when you're in habit mode. You want to play golf in habit mode. You want to practice playing golf, and then you want to free it up to be in habit mode. And just let whatever is natural get in the way. Don't be thinking you have to have some crazy analytical swing ball, because I just don't believe that's true.
Right. It's funny. It's funny you mentioned your process and your method. I was quite similar in that I had a few different ways of doing things, but I always had a plan. And once I gathered all my information, I went into my do phase, which is execution, and then I went into my review. And let's face it, you don't always have your A game out there, right? But how does your B game and C game still win golf tournaments? You know, you talk about attitude, and guys like Tiger, I've seen him throw clubs, you know, but it's the ability to, it's not necessarily when you're getting upset that's important, it's what you do after that. I've always thought, listen, I've got no problem if you rip a glove or, you know, put your club back in the bag with a bit of force, but if that carries over to the next couple of shots, you know, all of a sudden you've lost the golf tournament, you know, because when you're playing for money like we were, that can cost you a significant chunk of change, and that's really going to leave a sour taste in your mouth. So was there ever a moment in your career that you sort of caught yourself in a bit of a free fall and you were able to pick yourself up out of that with your mental game?
Well, so just to continue what we're talking about, and you kind of segued into the next phase of this. So everything I've talked about now is sort of on the front end, right into the moment of hitting the golf shot. You know, your true overall value system. What is your attitude? Are you a positive person? Do you purposely have self-talk to control, to put good thoughts in your head and choose to want to be positive? That's your attitude. Do you have great strategy? Do you have the ability to plan your shot? Do you have the ability to believe in yourself? You know, do you have the ability to execute at that moment? And then you hit the shot. You stand up on the very first hole. You have this great plan. You've thought about every shot exactly where you want to hit it. And then we get to Robert Burns, the Scottish poet, Ode to the Mouse, the best laid schemes of mice and men. You stand up with a great plan, great attitude, great execution, and all of a sudden, right at that moment, you make a bad swing. And you hook it over to the left, and you're up underneath one of those pine trees. Now, what do? How do you choose to react to that? And honestly, the middle golf, and that's what people were shining the light on myself. I just do what you're talking about, to turn it around, to be resilient. If you're going great, the flip side of that is if you're doing great, start off the first hole with 3 straight birdies, and like, whoa, time out. I'm not used to being 3 under after 3. Do you have the ability to not choke? Right? So part of mental golf is on the front end. Part of it is the exact moment of execution. The biggest, most damaging part can honestly be on the tail end of how you react to your situation, whether you're in a good situation or a bad situation. It goes even further when you start talking about, can you handle being successful? Can you handle being successful? Can you really accept success? And that's where, goal setting can sometimes get in the way of this, because it can actually lead to problems. But in your head, what do you think of yourself? What is your self-worth? I mean, for me, for example, there are times that I choked, right? I'll give you my best choke in golf. I'm in the quarterfinals of the National Amateur in 1987. Back then, the semifinalists got to go play in the Masters.
So top 4. The
top
final 4 got, okay.
To get in the Masters. Well,
wow.
The entire match, I'm thinking about that.
Oh, no.
I could not, the thought of playing in the Masters was just so daunting to me at age 21 that I just could not accept that success. I 3-putted 4 times in the first 10 holes. I had not had a 3-putt in any of the rounds prior. I had probably gone a month without a 3-jack.
Wow.
And I 3-putted 4 times in 10 holes. And I was still even in the match.
So he wasn't playing the best either to start out with. He was struggling a little bit too.
He finally figured out this guy just doesn't want to beat me. His name is Steve Ford. He was a perennial mini tour player until he was about 40 years old.
Okay.
Good golfer, good guy, played at Georgia Southern, and he beat me. He should not have beat me.
You beat yourself.
And it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's what always golf is. You either win yourself or you beat yourself, right? It's about controlling the man in the mirror. We got these beautiful mirrors here in the Jefferson room, and you look at yourself in the mirror. And the man in the mirror is the person you have to beat all the time, and really all you're ever trying to do in golf is beat old man par. My grandfather used to always talk to me about beating old man par. But so, can you handle success? And does the situation take over? And that's what choking is. That's what choking in athletics is. It's being able to not be ready to take that moment in time. And there are great people that have choked. And then sometimes you have a chance to bounce back from it. I never really got my chance to bounce back from the U.S. Amateur because I turned pro shortly after that. But that's something that sort of still loves me. It's like, are you kidding me? I live with that. I just spit the bit. What can I say? I used to weigh a lot of horses. I started fast and I spit the bit.
It's funny you mentioned that it lives with you. Some of these moments live with you. Like, man, I wish I could go back and have a different outlook, and maybe that would affect the outcome. Same thing happened to me in the Australian PGA on my first year on tour. I was one of 2 rookies to make the cut in the last event, and if I would have finished, I think, bogey on the 71st and 72nd hole, I would have got Rookie of the Year awards, and it would have been a nice little fat Christmas check. Well, I finished 9-6. I finished with exactly right. I was playing with James Nitties that day. He played well. He shot like 66, and it's funny how, you mentioned earlier about all these reporters sticking microphones in these politicians' faces, trying to get them to react. Well, as soon as I came off the green, I had a reporter stick a microphone in my face saying, "Scott, you just went 9-6 to lose the Rookie of the Year. How do you feel?" And I thought it took every ounce of my strength, mental strength, not to bark back at him. You know me pretty well. Sometimes I bark back a little quick. But yeah, it's just interesting. And that's one regret I have is I wish I could go back and play those last 2 holes again. So it still hurts. It's funny you mentioned that it still hurts, and every golf pro or everyone that's been in any competitive environment goes through that at some form of their life. But it's how you bounce back from it, which I think is the most difficult thing definitely in our sport. That's the most difficult thing. So, and one of the questions I also have for you, pro is how, obviously you mentioned the US quarterfinalists there. What did you learn from that experience, and did you learn from that experience that translated into like a professional victory or something that, you know, maybe you were better for it in the long run, but what did you learn from that experience?
Honestly, I think that I've learned more about my golf from being away from golf. You know, managing other people as a golf professional here, having a staff of, I don't know what we had, but we had 35 one time, 43 at one time. We're down to about 6 employees right now.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Dealing with that has taught me more about how to get control of yourself, because you really have to be a leader and provide leadership to other people, and you can't be apoplectic about things. You can't be, you know, hothead about things. You can't take your foot off the gas pedal at any point ever in the game of life. For anybody that I know that's working right now, I would say that you ask every person, these are the times of testing of the souls right now. This is the time in our life that we're all going to look back and say, how did we choose, and how did we react from this very difficult time? There are people losing their jobs. There are people that are struggling to eat. There are people that are just trying to survive. People that have died. People that are sick. People that are anxious. People that are worried. People that are perfectly healthy, that are mad that everything's not open. There are so many needles that we are threading, and all that requires some of the same things we've talked about here to play around golf. I mean, it's to control yourself. You can't control anything but yourself right now. We cannot control what these politicians do. We cannot control what the government says we're going to be able to do. We cannot control a disease or a virus, but we can control ourselves. And we have that power, and we have to own that power. And so I wish I had maybe some of my wisdom when I played, when I was a flat belly and I had more hair and I could play better golf and actually cared more about golf. But I think I learned about competing in golf that I am as competitive right now as I've ever been in my entire life. Trying to survive, trying to be a leader for a golf operation that allows other people to survive and to succeed and to bounce back from this, and my kids, you know, to be there for them and be a provider, because you never know what's going to go on here. And so I want you to stay strong out there if you're listening. Keep a positive attitude. The power of choice, the power to choose, that's going to be the key to the kingdom for everybody. So I think that'll give you